Will Pope Leo XIV deal with the Traditionis Custodes problem just when you thought things were looking bright, hopeful, and cheery because Bishop Martin from Charlotte, North Carolina did delay his implementation of Traditionis Custodes, giving the lay faithful just a wee bit more time to absorb all of the pain and suffering he fully intends to inflict upon them. Some are saying that it was a meeting between Cardinal Roche and Pope Leo that triggered the delay. Good news, if you're a witch in France, you can put on your costume, attend Holy Mass. But if you're a traditional Catholic in Missouri, well, good news for you is you can't go to your traditional Latin Mass any longer. It also turns out that Cardinal Raymond Burke played a much more significant role in the conclave than we were first led to believe. Could it be that thanks to Cardinal Burke, Pope Leo XIV will in fact roll back some of those Traditionis Custodes restrictions? Will we see some Morum Pontificum again? Let's talk about it. By the way, my name is Joe McLean. I host a radio program called A Catholic Take, where we look at the world through a Catholic lens. I'd love for you to hang out with us. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and let us know what you think in the comments below. So will Pope Leo XIV roll back the restrictions on Traditionis Custodes? I believe there's great hope that, in fact, he will do that. And I believe that Cardinal Raymond Burke played a bigger role in the conclave that will, in fact, lead to that reversal. I want to get in first to this article over at the National Catholic Register, Edward Penton. I'm going to put a link to it below. Make sure to smash the thumbs up on your way down. But Edward Penton in the article says a significant early challenge for Pope Leo XIV will be how he chooses to handle the restrictions that Pope Francis placed on the traditional Latin Mass. I'm going to skip forward here because he reminds us that right after the conclave, His Eminence Cardinal Muller said in an interview that this was, in fact, one of the first things that Pope Leo needed to address because, traditional Catholics are being punished right now in Missouri and in Michigan and other places. While apparently witches dressed up in costume saying weird oaths to a fairy tale are more than welcome at the Novus Ordo Mass in France. Let that sink in. So this is, in fact, a big deal. Even Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone from San Francisco endorsed Cardinal Muller's comments, basically pointing out that this would be a unifying thing. To reverse Traditionis Custodes would help to unify Holy Mother Church rather than divide it. But let's talk about His Eminence Cardinal Burke and his role in the conclave. There's an article over at the New Daily Compass, again, I'm linking to it below, where he talks about Cardinal Raymond Burke's involvement to bring about the election of Leo XIV. And of course, these are leaked rumors, and there's only so much you can trust in that, so take this with a grain of salt, but it's nothing new. Every conclave, there's always some leaking information, what to believe, what not to believe. Well, it would seem that there was great hope that Parolin was going to lead the way in the conclave. And it would seem that that turned out not to be the case. Even in the very first vote, it was a three-way split between Parolin, Erdo, and Prevost, which meant the writing was on the wall for Parolin. So quickly, his party and his faction knew that they had to step aside and get out of the way. This is where Cardinal Raymond Burke and some of the bishops, or rather cardinals in Latin America and America, stepped in to further the cause of Prevost. It would seem that Leo XIV, Cardinal Prevost, was a good fit for progressives, for conservatives, and maybe, just maybe, everybody in between. The Latin Americans saw him more as one of their own. He'd been in Peru for so long. He understood them. He spoke their language. For people like Cardinal Supich, Tobin, and others, he's an Augustinian from Chicago. Maybe he understands the progressive plight as well. But for Cardinal Raymond Burke, he saw an opportunity. And it would seem, according to this article, that it was Raymond Burke who pushed the conservatives, and even people like Cardinal Dolan, who's labeled a conservative, but I don't consider him a conservative, especially since he seemingly has helped to cover up some of the priestly sexual abuse crisis in his diocese. But nonetheless, he was able to get them to vote for Cardinal Prevost, who then became Leo XIV. So is it possible that Leo XIV could now address the crisis in the church causing such great scandal and punishing faithful Catholics who simply want more and not less. I believe, in fact, there is great hope for that. And I'm not the only one who believes this. Rate Caeli, again, I'll link to it below, they also believe that there is great hope in Leo XIV to roll back these restrictions. It says in their recent article, if we look to the liturgical questions, which for us is fundamental, the facts are plain to see. The Bishop of Charlotte, Bishop Michael Martin, committing an incomprehensible act of clumsiness any sensible person would have unthink until he clarifies, decreed the nonsensical reasons, the almost complete prohibition of the traditional mass in his diocese. But last Tuesday morning, Pope Leo received an audience. Cardinal Arthur Roche, prefect of the Dicastery for Divine Worship, in the afternoon, Bishop Martin surprisingly announced that he was suspending the decree and their prohibitions until October the 1st. Can't say for sure, but there might be a connection here. Seems hopeful, does it not? But they're not the only ones. Even First Things, play the middle road, First Things, even they believe Bishop Martin was out of touch, pointing out that the stats seem to suggest that a majority of Catholics, no matter what mass they go to, do not want a war between traditional Catholics and Novus Ordo Catholics. They're saying a commanding majority, 69%, agreed that the TLM should be readily available to whomever is interested in it, with only 10% disagreeing. 76% agreed that people who want to should be able to attend the TLM. Let that sink in. Even the average Catholic, the middle-of-the-road Catholic, do not understand about the heavy-handedness of the restriction on the traditional Latin Mass. So, will we see a resurgence? The kissing of the ring is back, praise be to God. Smells and bells are back. And the traditional pilgrimage, the Chartres pilgrimage in France, is booming with Catholics who love the traditional forms of piety, sacraments, and culture. No matter how many witches show up at their masses and hope to and get permission to say their crazy, blasphemous oaths to a fairy tale, it would seem that His Holiness Pope Leo XIV is sending a different message even to the French traditionalists. No matter how much Francis over the past 13 years tried to suppress and punish traditionalists in France, it is the growth that is happening in that country is thanks in large part to the traditional forms of piety, sacraments, and culture, attracting the young in droves in that country. And Leo is recognizing this and is grateful for it. So, will he in fact roll back Traditionis Custodes? I believe there's great hope to believe he will. The smells and bells, the kissing of the ring, the Latin Mass parts, and so much more. But the heavy-handed work of people like Cardinal Raymond Burke, Cardinal Muller, Cardinal Sarah, who's been put back into action, Cardinal Roche, who's been put back into action, are all signaling a great hope that, in fact, His Holiness Leo XIV will relieve the suffering of so many Catholics who simply want more of the piety and rich tradition of Holy Mother Church and not less. Let me know what you think below. God love you. Did you like that video? It's okay. You can admit it. It's perfectly fine. Hey, we cover the big stories of our day, from inside the church to outside the church to all points in between, and we do it from a Catholic perspective. It's called A Catholic Take. It's a radio program Monday through Friday. We live stream it right here on this channel, by the way, so make sure to subscribe, like, and share. We would be very grateful to you. And don't forget, you're going to want to watch this video right here because you don't want to miss anything.